Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much. It is so wonderful to be here this evening with my good friend and meditation teacher, Bob Roth. Bob Roth. And we are here tonight for the launch of Meditate America. We are coming to you from New York City's iconic Jazz at Lincoln Center. You guys all know that. But everyone there watching, we are connected together via live stream. Hi everyone, with people from all over the world. Happy Friday, Australia. It's good to see you all. Welcome to all of you, literally everybody. Meditate America is a national health initiative about the profound importance and benefits of meditation. So tonight, we are focusing on transcendental meditation, which I have been practicing now for many years, 31 years, in fact. Well, I wouldn't clap at that. I've met people tonight already, 55, 50, they look at me, 31 is nothing, 55, 50. How long are you, Bob?
55.
There you go, 55. TM has been learned by 10 million people of all ages, religions, and nationalities to help them boost creativity, resilience, intelligence, increase happiness, and improve health. Bob, tell us more about Meditate America.
First, I have to say that in my 55 years of meditating, this, for me, is the single most important moment I've ever had. Teaching TM for 52 years, this moment, and I'm very grateful for all of you being here today and connected with us all over the world. So, thank you. So before I talk about Meditate America, in case anyone doesn't know, this is Hugh Jackman, and your super blockbuster film, Deadpool and Wolverine, you said actually because he's not here.
Yeah, we can call it Wolverine and Deadpool if you like, whatever.
All right.
Yeah.
He'll never get to him.
I'm glad that Ryan Reynolds doesn't meditate. It gave me a night off. That's good.
He'll never
probably watching. Sorry. Hi, Ryan. Lovely to see you.
Hi, Ryan. Anyway, has already grossed over $1 billion at the box office, making it one of the highest single-grossing movies of all time. But more than that, Hugh has received so many awards, including Primetime Emmy Award, a Golden Globe Award, a Grammy Award, and 2 Tony Awards. He has starred on 5 hit shows on Broadway and hosted the Academy Awards once and the Tonys 4 times, and he is here with us tonight. You have credited your meditation practice with helping you navigate the pressures and challenges of your life. Could you talk about it?
Sure. 31 years ago, I was an acting student in Perth, Australia, and someone introduced me to this group, and they were offering meditation. And from everything I was hearing, I thought, oh, this is great. This is going to help me with my acting, which when you're an acting student, that's literally all I cared about at the time. And it did, because it really does help you to be present, to listen, to be grounded, to be spontaneous, be creative, to have energy, all the things that are obviously very helpful in any art form, actually in life at all. And what I realized maybe within 6 months of meditating, oh, this is not just about acting, this helps me with everything. But it did. I was 23, 24, and I felt things start to drop in. My understanding of who I was, my relationships with other people, relationships I've had before, new ones, and just my general self-worth and self-presence, I guess, just increased dramatically. I would say it's probably one of the defining moments of my life, having meditation introduced. It changed me profoundly.
So what is Meditate America, and what's happening here this evening? It doesn't take much to realize that our world is in a fairly precarious position in many, many ways. But if we just look in our own health of ourselves, stress levels of ourselves, our children or grandchildren, parents, we are living in an epidemic of chronic stress. Chronic stress we can deal with. Chronic stress is the kind of stuff that doesn't go away when we go for a run, doesn't go away when we get a good night's sleep, doesn't go away when we start eating healthy. It builds and builds and builds and builds. And there is no conventional approach. no medicine we can take that can address or alleviate that chronic stress that just stays with us. So tonight, we're looking at, interesting, just say here, one of the most modern of ailments. 90% of all illnesses have their root cause in chronic stress. And again, no pill. We're looking at a meditation technique, a universal practice that anyone can practice. Doesn't matter your religion or not religion, doesn't matter how old you are, your education, that does one thing, that accesses a field of silence that already exists within every one of us. And we access it in the simplest, easiest way. So we're looking at it, and tonight this is going to be something serious here. There's serious issues that we're dealing with. And so we're taking the time to go deeply into this so that you can understand why it is that our focus is to incorporate this into the healthcare system so that it is reimbursable, just like Lexapro and all these antibiotics, that here is a tool that can help address these deep problems that nothing else gets to. So I feel like when we go into this dive, we're going to look at 4 areas this evening. Firefighters and first responders, veterans and military, our healthcare workers, and our people who live in communities, under-resourced communities. We're going to go through it. You're going to hear some very interesting stories and some very interesting people. So sit back and enjoy this gorgeous view. And again, another round of applause for a very great human being.
Thanks, Bob. So police and firefighters are on the front lines of this stress epidemic, and it is literally killing them. In fact, the number 1 cause of death amongst police and firefighters is not from doing their often very dangerous jobs, it is suicide. Fortunately, our resilient First Responders Initiative is making a big impact.
The thing about being a firefighter is you can go from 0 to 60 at the drop of a hat. People are screaming, people are yelling, and you have to remain calm. And that's not that easy. We realized early on that you had to have some stress debriefings, and it wasn't well accepted. People, I'm okay, this is what I'm supposed to do. But then I will tell you when it really, really hit home was on September 11th, when we lost 343 members of our department, and we realized that there wasn't anybody in this job that wasn't hurting.
I need help. And the hardest thing to do is to ask for help, especially as a firefighter when you're there to help other people. I struggled with alcohol for many years, especially after 9/11. I'm a survivor of 9/11. It felt like the world was crashing down around me. So I needed a change, I needed a reset. I didn't believe it was going to work, and it was a revelation.
It's like a pressure relief valve, you know what I mean? A lot of first responders and people in general, but especially in this line of work, try to self-medicate, try to forget things they've seen, things that have happened. Friends get hurt, friends die. But to have something that's legitimate, that can actually help you rid yourself of some of those, to have something that can really help, it's huge.
The thing that blew me away about it was that it works. At the end of 20 minutes, you're like, wow, you feel great. Honestly, if it was up to me, we would be teaching it in the academy.
This transformation with TM, it's changed a lot of people's lives, changed my life.
And having that inner calm within yourself, because you have meditated and you feel that confidence of, I can handle this, I'm more relaxed. I know it sounds crazy to say you're going to be relaxed at a fire scene, but at least within yourself you are relaxed so you can do your job. It just calms you down. When I said we went from 0 to 60, it makes that 60-30, and you're calm enough to do your job, makes you a stronger person.
23 years ago yesterday, on September 11th, 2001, as we heard, 343 members of the New York City Fire Department lost their lives. Former Fire Commissioner of the New York Fire Department, Salvador Cassano, was there on the ground that day. You saw him in the video. Commissioner Cassano spent 44 years with the New York City Fire Department and is also a U.S. Army veteran who served in Vietnam. He also heads up our firefighter initiative. He wants all firefighters to meditate. Commissioner Cassano is with us now. Please welcome. A great, great, great American hero and my friend, Commissioner Salvador Cassano.
Thank you, Bob. As we all know, everybody knows where we were 23 years ago yesterday, when the World Trade Center was attacked. It was the darkest day for the FDNY. In fact, it was the darkest day for the fire service, because if you lose a brother or a sister, whether it's in California, New York, Idaho, it affects us all. So September 11th, 2001 affected the whole fire service, our darkest day. The next morning, when we were in headquarters, sun rose, the light shone, and we realized we had to rebuild our whole department, whether it was apparatus, equipment, tools. And then we realized we had medical issues as well as psychological issues. So we had to rebuild that portion of the fire department. Our counseling unit at that time was 7 members. It ended up being over 200 members, whether it was peer counselors, counselors from the outside, or our original counseling unit. We suffered tremendous, tremendous losses. Since September 11, 2001, we've lost 363 more of our members due to the work at the World Trade Center, whether it's an illness like cancer or a lung disease or PTS. It's still affecting us. Every run they go on affects them. I can't tell you how much I appreciate when I met Bob Roth 14 years ago, and you taught me. And I realized it was a game changer for us. I realized how much it helped me with stress. I knew it would be the right thing for our firefighters, our EMTs, and paramedics. So we finally, thanks to the David Lynch Foundation, trained our first 100 firefighters last year. And it's made a tremendous difference. This year we got a grant from the FDNY Foundation to train another 100 of our firefighters. It's not nearly enough, but it's a start. We have to start someplace. And how do I know it works? I'll tell you a quick story before I finish. I'm probably over my time already, but we brought our first 100 participants into the program for a group meeting to see how they felt about it. One of our young firefighters who had suffered a very serious injury and got addicted to painkillers. We tried everything to get him straight, and nothing worked. He got up in the group, and it's the first time he spoke about his addiction and said, the only thing that worked for me was TM. The only thing. To me, it sold the counseling unit that this is the program for us. So I want to thank everybody for being here, supporting us, and thank Bob Roth for his friendship.
Thank you, Commissioner Cassano. Lieutenant Drew Kane is the Deputy Director of the New York City Fire Department's Counseling Services Unit. Lieutenant Kane is joined by Brittany Perotta, Brian Russo, and Mike Toomer. Lieutenant Kane.
Thank you. I'd like to start off by thanking everybody here tonight and the David Lynch Foundation for the tremendous opportunity to be invited here rather than called here. We're usually called on an assignment or something. I did check some of the railings. They're a little low. We'll take care of that after. Salvatore Cassano, in I think 2007 or 2008, signed my detail slip to go to the Counseling Service Unit. And it's been the most gratifying work that I've ever done in my entire life. I was a firefighter for 15 years in the field. I have 30 years on the job. I have 30 years in recovery. And those two instances in my life are what I match up to learning TM and bringing it to the counseling unit. Those first 100 individuals and the 3 individuals that are behind me now that you saw in some of the videos, they learned TM. We had people in our addiction transition program, like Commissioner Cassano said, and it was a game changer, literally a game changer. As Dr. Bob's, oh, there's another Dr. Bob.
Bob.
He wrote another book too. He wrote a big book. So he's kind of famous too, but you're
My dad was a doctor on
okay,
this book.
sorry about that. This is kind of dangerous, me with the microphone, as you can tell. But in that book, it says simple, natural, and effortless. And as firefighters, I was told as a young firefighter, he said, listen, he says, they call us the bravest, we're not necessarily the brightest. So that became very easy for us. It was natural, it was simple, and as in real estate where they say location, 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 for firefighters it was free, free, free. And because of the individuals that are here tonight, and we hope that it continues, the efforts and the donations, and I really said, like I said in the video, this should be taught to every first responder in this country, to be able to stop in the morning and in the evening for 20 minutes and collect your thoughts and get to that deeper level of the water, right? When they talk about the turmoil of the water up top and you get below, it's a game changer. It was for me, for the individual standing behind me, so we have nothing but gratitude, and thank you so much for having us here tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner and Lieutenant Kane, and all of you for joining us. I'd like to add that the demand for TM now among first responders is growing. We've already been invited to bring the meditation to firefighters in California and Colorado. Not only are they dealing with the just ordinary, the traumas of being a firefighter, they're working with unprecedented wildfires. So this we want to bring everywhere.
All right, I'll be Bob. Have fun. I'll be Bob. Can I be Dr. Bob? Is that all right? Thanks.
Fine with me.
It's kind of ironic that in this age of high-tech medicines and costly interventions, that something as simple and human and universal as transcendental meditation could be so effective at addressing the very serious chronic problems that continue to plague us, despite the best efforts of conventional treatments. All right. So let's continue. When we talk about brave men and women on the front lines who are safeguarding our homes, our families, and our nation, we don't have to look any further than our veterans. The effects of stress on veterans are also staggering. The Veterans Administration spends nearly $20 billion every year to help veterans who return home from service just to try to stay alive, much less live a normal life after their service. And it's not working. So consider these staggering numbers. More than 7,000 soldiers died in combat during the Iraq and Afghanistan wars. More than 7,000. But you know how many people died from suicide since September 11th, 2001? Over 30,000. 30,000. It doesn't sound possible, but it's true. But fortunately, there is a way forward.
I was just so bombarded with images and thoughts caused by trauma.
I had to go through the reasons why I was not going to put that 9mm that I keep in my house for protection to my skull.
My first meditation was life-changing. It was just so peaceful. It was so absolutely peaceful. It was so amazing. It was so awesome. It was so incredible.
If I had not had TM now, there is no way I could still be alive right now.
It releases all of those limits that you thought that you had. This is something that would be beneficial to anybody in the military, beneficial to anyone, period.
I wish I had known about TM when I was a brand new cadet at West Point. I wish I had known about TM when I was going through Ranger School. When I came back from combat, I was suffering from a form of post-traumatic stress. The Department of Defense funded a $2.5 million study which found that TM is as effective
as the VA's gold standard treatment for post-traumatic stress.
If TM was accepted as a gold standard treatment, it would be an amazing impact. It would decrease the requirements for remediation downstream. You'd have a healthier, incredibly more resilient service member that is more capable and more effective in handling all of those challenges throughout the course of her or his life. Isn't that what we all strive for?
Major General, U.S. Army retired James A. Spider Marks is a graduate of West Point. He's a former Army Ranger who served over 30 years in the Army. He is currently co-chair of the David Lynch Foundation's Veterans Initiative and is working with great passion to make TM available to every veteran.
So, I don't want to drag everybody down too deep, but there's a very precise military term for TM. This stuff works. It really is quite phenomenal. Look, I wore a uniform for a long time. Never had a doubt in my mind when I was wearing that uniform that I had purpose. And I also was being held accountable, and I had brothers and sisters in uniform that held you accountable and drove that sense of purpose. And then you get out, and when you wear the uniform, and let's be frank, when you go to combat, you get very narrow and very deep. It's just like Sal when he described 9/11 for the FDNY. So in combat, you get very narrow and very deep, and nobody can challenge you in terms of your ability to make a difference. And then guess what happens when you come back home? The world gets very broad, very narrow, and you're worrying about things that were immensely inconsequential just a couple days before. Then you depart service. Now you're trying to navigate this world that you haven't been a part of for a while. Where is that sense of purpose? We've got to drive that sense of purpose. How do we navigate effectively? There are different methodologies. TM is one of those. And when I was able to find Bob Ross, it really provided incredible value for me. Veterans as well as active duty folks understand that continuity. If you can get to the active duty folks before they become veterans, you've eliminated a number of challenges that will could potentially eliminate themselves or present themselves further down the road. It's a great opportunity. And I'll drag you into a little bit of my personal hell here. 2022 was a horrible year for the Marks family. Look, I'm married to an identical twin, this beautiful woman. She lost her twin sister to a horrible glioblastoma, a brain tumor. So immediately, this very deep Catholic family that I'm a part of tries to figure out, what does that mean? Why did my sister leave? Why am I not departing? Etc. And then 6 months later, my second daughter, I have 3 girls, my second daughter, married to a veteran, he takes his life. I've got to tell you, TM, give me a second here. TM was a lifesaver. My bride of 47 years, all in a row, same person. She and I meditate together as a matter of routine. We do this because Bob introduced this to us, and I am so honored to be a part of the initiative that Bob has created, which is 21 to none. Before the evening's over, the 21st veteran will have taken his or her life. 21 a day. So let's attack that. Bob, God bless you.
Lisa Beata served as a medic in the U.S. Army during the Gulf War era and is now the director of the Office of Veteran Affairs at the City University of New York. Lisa suffered an unimaginable tragedy and learned to meditate through the David Lynch Foundation's Veterans Initiative. Please welcome Lisa Beata.
Thank you. In 2016, That was the worst year of my life. I lost my daughter, and I thought, because I'm serving veterans, those who served, I know that I can push forward, exercise, do the best that I can, and do what I can for veterans. One day, another veteran came to me and said, "Why are you having about 4 cups of coffee before noon?" And I said, "I can't sleep." I would barely have 2 hours of sleep at night. This was going on for over 8 months. I thought maybe sleeping pills could help me. That didn't work. I even thought maybe I should take myself out. That would help. Finally, when that veteran said to me, "Why don't you try TM?" I thought, what could I lose? By my second day of TM, I was shocked. I came in excited. I actually slept 5 hours. I couldn't believe the difference that TM meant. Before TM, I was an insomniac. I was irritable. I just couldn't concentrate no matter what I did. Now, today, I introduce TM to all my veterans, 3,000 in the CUNY system, to make sure that they have the tools, the resources to help themselves. And I thank David Lynch Foundation for that. Thank you.
Thank you, Lisa. I want to say one thing. When we hear this, all these dramatic changes, it could, for many people, sound too good to be true. What is this? How could one thing have such a wide-ranging effect? And we're going to hear, actually, Dr. Tony Nader, who is the head of the Global TM organization and neuroscientist and medical doctor, talk about that. I just want to make this point. We are talking about a neurophysiological change that takes place in the body. How it happens with consciousness, we talk about that. But just understand, the changes that take place are not because we've adopted some new mental attitude. It's a profound transformation in the way your body and brain and mind get that profound rest and relaxation. And coming from that 20 minutes, we are more ourself.
In that video before with the veterans, I've been hearing about meditation ever since I started meditating, but there was a phrase that one of the veterans used, and she said it releases your limitations that you think you have. And that is something I've never heard before. That's how I'm going to describe it now, because we all feel we have limitations, whether it be sleep, whether it be whatever it is, our ability, our cognizance, whatever it is, it releases that and deepens. So I just wanted to highlight that. Meditate America. It's about education. It's about research and developing programs for people in every area of society, and doing the large-scale studies that are needed to qualify TM for insurance coverage so that it is available to everyone who wants to incorporate it into their life and live a healthier, happier life. So I call this the democratization of meditation. It's for everyone, it's for all of us, it's for farmers, truck drivers, doctors, stay-at-home mums, kids, it's for everyone. Stress hits all of us in different and often unexpected ways.
Well, before we take a break, I was on the phone call with a very good friend of mine, Nancy Shemtab, who is a meditator, a member of our board, and she was telling me about a doctor's appointment. We all go to checkups. She was telling me about a doctor's appointment that she had just a few days earlier. And you hear stories, you see a doctor and your blood pressure goes down when you're meditating or whatever. And she told a very interesting story, so I'd love to have Nancy come up here and just share. Nancy's a founding and managing partner of Shemtab, Moss, Foreman, and Baida, a leading matrimonial and family law firm. Please welcome Nancy.
Hello, everybody. I just want to start off by saying that I wouldn't be here if it weren't for Bob Roth. I'd probably be in a mental institute.
Or I could.
I'm not even joking. So I just want to give you a little bit about myself, which might be too much information, and I actually was going to just do a very bland conversation with you. So I'm just going to let it all out. What happened in 2012 is I woke up one day and I found out that my husband had a baby living across the street. So if you want to talk about PTSD, that was it. And I apologize to my children who are in the room who had to deal with this issue. So what I ended up doing was I took Klonopin, I took sleeping pills, I took anything to get me through the day. And I also went to work every day because I had a very busy job. What ended up happening is I subsequently met my very incredible, fabulous husband, Michael Kubin, who always has the most important things to say. You can do this, but one thing he said to me is, what's wrong with you? And I was like, really, there's nothing wrong with me. And then he said to me, I feel like you're a bit off. And he said, you need to meditate. And I'm like, I'm not meditating. He said, I want to introduce you to Bob Roth. So I said, okay. So he kept making appointments for me to go see Bob Roth, but I was like, thought it was the dumbest thing in the entire world. And finally, I realized that Bob Roth is this really important person, and I have to stop canceling on him. So I went into Bob's office, and he was like, hi, you're here under duress. And I'm like, yes. Anyway, long story short, I now am on the board of Transcendental Meditation. I live by it. Michael Kubin and I literally meditate every single morning. It saved my life. I cannot tell you how calm it makes me. And what ended up happening, and this is why they wanted me to come on stage, is to tell you about the medical science as to what TM can do for you, is I know I look like I'm 30, but I'm actually going to be 60, and my doctor just wanted a baseline on me. So she came in and she ran all these tests that cost a fortune. And one of them was a neuro wave EEG of my brain. So she said, it's going to be 20 minutes, and I'm going to hook you up. It was actually 30 minutes, and I'm going to hook you up. And I said, well, 30 minutes is 20 minutes of meditation. I could get my meditation in for the day. So I said, is it okay if I just do TM? And she said, sure, do whatever you want to do. So I did. So I put on my TM device, and I sat back, and I did my meditation. And after that, this overpriced doctor turned to me and said, oh my God, what did you do? And I said, I meditated. She said, I have never seen a calmer brain ever. So I call up Bob, and I'm like, is this woman a whack job? And he said, no. He said, this is actually true. So what I did, because Bob wanted me to come up and speak today, and I verified this. I called her today. I called up the supervising doctor, and they both went and looked at my brain scan, and they said it was the calmest brain they've ever seen. And look at me, I don't seem calm. But my thank
you. I do. That's it. Done. We can eat.
No more research needed. Done.
I just have to. Nancy's very kind. Because I'm her TM teacher, and many of you have learned to meditate, and you have your TM teacher, and I had my TM teacher, Sylvia Schmidt, and one does love and appreciate one's own TM teacher, but do need to know there are thousands of highly qualified, certified TM teachers, and all across the country. And that's a beautiful thing about this meditation. It's taught in personal instruction by certified teachers, and every one of them is great.
So we're going to take a little break, everybody. That's a break from our live stream. We will be back in a few minutes, so don't go too far away. All right.
Civic community leaders and the people of New York. We're launching Meditate New York, an initiative to get all New Yorkers to start meditating. Soon, New Yorkers will know the benefits of meditation, such as reduced anxiety, improved sleep, and increased productivity. Basically, it's the best thing since sliced pizza. And as a part of this initiative, we'll be teaching 10,000 frontline workers transcendental meditation, including first responders, healthcare workers, veterans, and teachers. You know, the New Yorkers who need it most. It's time for us to take back our city and reach our full potential, so we can get back to just the right amount of crazy.
Please welcome back to the stage Hugh Jackman and Bob Roth, CEO of the David Lynch Foundation.
All right, the video we just saw and the one we watched to open the program were both produced pro bono by our very good friends from BBDO. Give them a big round of applause, please. And can you imagine how great it will be when that is aired on TV stations right through New York City? That's the plan for this spring for Meditate New York, the local outreach of Meditate America. And in fact, Meditate LA and Meditate Washington, D.C. are already being launched. They've been launched already. And next week, Meditate America will be launched on the local level in 150 cities in the U.S., which is very exciting.
First, I missed one person. Tamara Odenek, thank you for your gift. We know how hard it was for doctors and nurses and other frontline healthcare workers during the pandemic. Well, it's not any easier for most of them today. In fact, the problems of stress-related issues in many ways have exacerbated. Fortunately, our programs are making a huge difference.
We live in a world of chaos in the hospital. There's always uncertainty, there's always disarray. Professionals are, hanging up their stethoscopes saying, I just don't want to do this anymore. Burnout is very, very real.
Our healthcare workers are overwhelmed, they're overstressed, they're overworked, and we need help any way we can get it. And I think TM is one of the best tools that I have found that is helping us manage this overwhelming stress.
Inside, I would be very jittery and very uneasy, but after starting TM, I have a sense of groundedness. I can plant my feet on the ground and feel like I'm actually touching the floor.
Looking into the huge body of published studies in the best medical journals, I learned that TM has a powerful, beneficial impact on mind, brain, and body.
We'll see staff members want to stay within healthcare organizations because they can manage the stress, or the stress itself has decreased.
TM is something that they can use every day that can benefit them, that can benefit their family, that can benefit their work, that can benefit the patients, and will change them forever.
This is life-changing. This is a game changer.
So joining us on stage are Dr. Yolanda Lewis-Ragland and Dr. Stuart Rothenberg. Please give them a round of applause. Dr. Lewis-Ragland is board certified through both the American Academy of Pediatrics and the American Board of Obesity Medicine. She has partnered with the US Peace Corps, the World Health Organization, and the US Department of Health and Human Services. And Dr. Stuart Rothenberg is the Chief Medical Officer of the David Lynch Foundation and National Medical Director of the Transcendental Meditation Health Professionals Program, which includes over 8,000 healthcare providers who practice TM and incorporate it into their healthcare practice. So, welcome.
Thank you.
How was dinner? Good?
It was good.
Excellent, good. Has the medical profession always been this stressful, do you think?
So yes, the medical profession has been stressed for a long time, especially in areas where resources are strained. And in any crisis, our better angels would love to just push beyond our capacity and continue to serve our communities, because most of us serve out of passion and purpose. However, what we've found in disasters like COVID pandemic, 9/11, we were burned out, stressed out, depressed, and that's dangerous when you have a workforce, a healthcare workforce that is dealing with that much trauma and unable to help others. So we need something, and what I found is, for us, TM helped us help ourselves so that we could better serve our community.
Wonderful. So you're a pediatrician.
Yes, I am.
So tell us more how meditation has helped you, not just in your professional career, but in your personal life.
So for me, TM has helped in almost every way. I'm a pediatrician. I was working in a community that was underserved on purpose. This was something that, I had a passion for advocacy and underserved communities. But what I didn't know and what I wasn't prepared for was that I was internalizing a lot of the trauma that I was experiencing in my community. And it was affecting how I was showing up. It was affecting how I was giving care. It was affecting how I was relating to my own family. And so I was irritable, short-tempered. It's not very nice, but I was getting my work done. And one day, David Lynch Foundation had come and offered a free meditation course for the providers, and I thought, I'm extremely busy. This is probably not going to work for me, but I'll just do it anyway. I'm very, pessimistic. It's not going to work. And I was amazed. It did. It changed literally everything. I know it sounds hokey. We've been saying this all night, but it changed my life. And what it did was it didn't change my schedule. My schedule was still just as crazy. I had all the patients. They were getting more complicated. But what it did was it made me feel like I could manage everything that was coming at me and have something left over for myself and for my family. And then I realized, my colleagues and my community are just as stressed as I am. This is something everybody needs. And so all of a sudden, the champion, that advocate in me decided this has to get to the world. So I joined in and said, listen, if I can be of any help, this is what I want. And so my legacy that I want to leave is getting TM into the hands of the community and to my colleagues.
Wonderful. Dr. Rothenberg, you've been heading up an initiative to bring TM to frontline healthcare workers in hospitals and medical centers across the US. What has been the response? What are you seeing out there?
Thank you. I'm pleased to report that the response has exceeded all our expectations. We're now in 100 hospitals nationwide. Thousands of healthcare workers have learned transcendental meditation as a result of this initiative. In New York City alone, we are in 46 hospitals that have adopted the program.
Wow, that's fantastic. So, what does the research show? What is the research showing?
So to date, there are 7 studies that have been published in peer-reviewed journals, and these studies have been done at prestigious institutions, for example, including Duke University, Brigham and Women's Hospital at Harvard, University of Michigan, and they've shown marked improvements in the healthcare workers' mental health, including significant reductions in burnout, anxiety, depression, and improved resilience. For example, in a controlled study that was done in 3 Miami hospitals during the height of the pandemic in Miami, it was found that those who learned TM experienced a rapid 50% reduction in anxiety over just 2 weeks, and then over 60% reduction over 3 months compared to no significant change in the control group. That was just one of the findings. Similar results were found with depression and insomnia. Now, the response among nurses has been especially gratifying, with studies showing strong improvements in post-traumatic stress symptoms and compassion fatigue, which really afflicts nurses. And they have very high rates of compliance with regular TM practice. And our goal with all this is to secure third-party reimbursement, including health insurance coverage for transcendental meditation. And this will help make TM accessible to all Americans, including the 22 million healthcare workers who can benefit so much from it. Now, I want to close by giving a shout out to my colleague, Dr. Sandy Nidich, who is our Chief Scientific Officer, whose expert guidance and leadership have been key in generating, really key in generating this impressive body of research. And thank you, Sandy.
Well, yes, thank you, Sandy. Thank you, Dr. Lewis Ragland and Dr. Rothenberg. Thank you so much for being with us. You know your work has come a long way when the top medical doctor in the United States, Surgeon General, Dr. Vivek Murthy, did I get that right? Vivek? I didn't get that right, no. Vivek Murthy? That was good, okay. Is a strong supporter of your work and the recipient of your Enlightened Doctor of the Year Award. So,
it's now my honor to talk about Vice Admiral Vivek H. Murthy, MD, the ideal honoree. Dr. Murthy is the 21st Surgeon General of the United States, and he previously served as the 19th Surgeon General under President Obama. As the nation's top doctor, Dr. Murthy helps to advance the health and well-being of all Americans and has worked to address critical public health issues. You've probably seen many of his advisories, including youth mental health crisis and social media's impact on youth mental health, the epidemic of loneliness and isolation, and burnout in the health worker community. We honor Dr. Murthy this evening with the Enlightened Doctor of the Year Award because he embodies who the nation's top physician should be, what his vision is for the health of the country, and how he wants to get us there. Dr. Murthy was planning to join us in person this evening to accept his award, but as happens, his professional obligations stood in the way of his travel plans, so he sent this message of acceptance by video.
Hello, everyone. I'm U.S. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy. I am truly honored to receive this recognition today, and I'm only sorry to not be able to celebrate with all of you in person. I want to thank the David Lynch Foundation and this community for making meditation more accessible to people who need it. The power of meditation to reduce stress and improve health could not be more important at a time where there is so much mental health strain in the world. I've seen the power of meditation in my own life. My first meditation teacher was my mother. She helped me shape my meditation practice throughout middle school and high school, and that practice became a lifeline for me later on during the stresses of medical training and in the years that followed. About 10 years ago, my wife and I were introduced to transcendental meditation around the time we were both in new jobs, in a new city, newly married, and about to start a family. So much for that advice to not make too many life changes at once. We came to rely on transcendental meditation during those years to recenter ourselves and to ground ourselves as we grappled with old and new stressors without the presence of familiar family and friends. Today, we are witnessing a broader mental health crisis play out in our schools and workplaces and communities. It has hit young people particularly hard. Healthcare workers are also struggling with high levels of burnout, as are parents and caregivers. And so many of us are feeling the weight of loneliness and isolation in a work-centric world that is fueled by social media and constant comparison. Loneliness in particular has serious consequences for our health, raising the risk of depression and anxiety, but also of heart disease, dementia, and premature death. It's for these reasons that I focus so much of my work as Surgeon General on mental health and well-being, issuing advisories and launching initiatives to combat our epidemic of loneliness, address youth mental health, highlight the state of parents' well-being, establish a framework for workplace mental health, and tackle the harms of social media. The truth is, mental health is health. It's the fuel that allows us to show up for our family, at work, and in our communities. That's why the journey that we are all on together, the journey to nourish the body, mind, and spirits of people across the world, is so essential and urgent. It's why I'm especially grateful to the David Lynch Foundation for its groundbreaking work on meditation and its steadfast commitment to mental health and well-being, particularly for veterans, survivors of violence, and healthcare workers. I have found that when we are able to allow the noise around us to settle, that's when the compassion, kindness, and courage that are our true nature shine forth. These qualities may be buried under fear and fatigue, but they are still there, waiting to be awakened. At its heart, our work is about recentering our world on humanity and love. Love is the world's oldest medicine. It's what we need more than ever to nourish our spirits and to help us heal. Thank you again for this extraordinary recognition. I'm so grateful for all of you.
Just take a moment here. Dr. Murthy has been talking a lot recently about the impact of stress on parents and the damaging effect that that's having on, obviously, the next generation. And there's a one-year study, I should say, inspired by Lynn Kaplan, who heads up our David Lynch Foundation program out in Los Angeles, at the Luskin Center at UCLA. And they are looking at the impact of TM on stress among parents across the whole demographics. And that's part of our Meditate LA initiative. So thank you, Lynn, and I just want to let you know that we're working in this area as well.
Finally, thank you very much for your great service, Dr. Rothenberg and Dr. Lewis Ragland. Thank you so much.
Maria Shriver is a great woman. She is a great human being in every way. When we chose our Enlightened Woman of the Year award, Maria, you were our only choice. Maria is an Emmy and Peabody Award-winning journalist, best-selling author, tireless advocate for women's health and Alzheimer's research. If you read Maria Shriver's Sunday paper, which you should, every week you will see that Maria inspires a lot of people. Alejandra Campoverde is one of them. Alejandra is a best-selling author, a nationally recognized women's health advocate, and a former White House official. Her memoir, First Gen, is the winner of the Martin Cruz Smith Award. A graduate of Harvard's Kennedy School of Government, Alejandra served as White House Deputy Director of Hispanic Media and is the founder of First Gen Fund. Alejandra has something to say about Maria.
Thank you, Bob. I could not be more honored to say a few words about Maria Shriver. I've been thinking a lot about what it means to be an enlightened woman. I'd argue that, in part, it's a woman who embraces and celebrates every aspect of her multidimensionality, a woman who contains multitudes and owns them all at once, unapologetically. When I think of a woman like this, Maria stands in a league of her own. I've witnessed Maria in a wide range of contexts over the years, as a fellow parishioner at the same church in Los Angeles, as First Lady of California, as a journalist when she visited my home with the Today Show to discuss hereditary cancer, and as a fierce health advocate at her Move for Minds event as a part of the women's Alzheimer's movement. No matter the situation, I've experienced the very same Maria, and that is someone who truly embodies passion, faith, and grace, who has a deep inner knowing and a wisdom that she freely shares with the world, and who lives a mission-driven life, works to empower other women, and places her family above all else. Maria, I not only admire you as a woman and as a leader, but also as a human.
Maria Shriver wears a lot of hats.
Countless achievements. The Sunday paper, I can't get up and start my week without it.
NBC special anchor Maria Shriver's here.
Award-winning journalist, best-selling author, activist.
Former First Lady of California.
Has testified before Congress.
The founder of Shriver Media.
Produced award-winning movies and is the founder of the Women's Alzheimer's Movement.
A dedicated and devoted mother of 4.
She started a brain brand called Mosh with her son Patrick Schwarzenegger.
When I got first involved in Alzheimer's research, which was 20-some years ago, nobody believed lifestyle had anything to do with preventing Alzheimer's or any other form of dementia.
President Biden announced $12 billion so that women can be tested for things that happen to women.
There is no doubt in my mind that we will make good on this pledge to radically transform women's health. I'm sure this will signal to women of all ages that at long last, we really do love them to the moon and back.
Maria's ability to cut through the noise and get to the heart of the matter makes her one of the most legendary journalists of the past 4 decades.
Thank you. What media we consume matters. What content we support makes a difference.
I got the eye of the
You are here to live your wildly authentic lives. And it's your authenticity, your determination, your creativity, and your imagination that our society needs most at this very moment. This is a moment for the brave.
Well, everyone, please join me in welcoming to the stage the great Maria Shriver. Before she speaks, I want to tell a story which I told Maria. When I was a 17-year-old kid, I worked for her uncle, Senator Bobby Kennedy, in his presidential campaign in California. And I saw him speak in San Francisco on June 1st, and I looked around the room, and there were 2,000 people in the room, and I did not think Republican, I did not think Democrat. I thought we could change the world. I had the great good fortune to teach Maria some years later, and one of the most moving things that she ever told me when she heard about the work of the David Lynch Foundation, is she said, well, I'd like to work with you and the David Lynch Foundation to help change the world. So very, very moving to me. You saw all the facts. There's two great Vedic aphorisms, and they describe Maria to a T. One is, tender as a flower where kindness is concerned, powerful as thunder when truth is at stake. And that is Maria Shriver. And there's a wonderful proverb that says, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. She has a great family, but also for Maria, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam means the world is my family. Please welcome Maria Shriver.
Wow. Thank you. That's the award.
No, actually, truth be told, David Lynch designed a beautiful award which is stuck somewhere. So in the meanwhile, Kate, we have it's you're going to get the real David Lynch. It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
You get 2.
I get 2.
Yeah.
2. Woo. Let me say, first of all, Alejandra, thank you so much for your beautiful words. I don't know where she went, but she is a beautiful force in her own right, an impressive young woman, and she is going to change the world. She has done so already, and so it's a real joy for me that she was here to introduce me, so thank you. Before I sit down with you, I would like to just say a little bit about Bob. But first, let me just say that I'm so happy to be here. I'm really humbled, actually, to be here, to listen to all of the people that spoke before we had dinner, people who've dedicated their life to service to our country, to keep us safe here at home and abroad. And the cost of their service on our behalf is extraordinary. And I just want to say, as an American citizen, this is Meditate America, thank you seems so trivial, but I have a profound gratitude to the firemen, to the veterans, to the doctors, to the nurses who work on all of our behalf every single day, unknown, unseen, in very often invisible ways. But they do it because they believe and they're passionate and they're purpose-driven human beings. And so for me to listen to them tonight was truly humbling. And I'm so glad that my son Christopher, his girlfriend Claire, my niece Carolina, and my colleague Sydney came with me tonight to also be able to witness that. Because I think when young people hear people like that, it's truly inspiring. It makes you think about what people will give to this country and give to all of us. And I hope it makes them go home tonight and think about their own commitment to being an American. So before I sit down, as I said, with you, I just want to say how I met Bob. So Bob is my teacher. And as the great Rumi said once, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. And Bob appeared at my door right after I got separated. I was living in a hotel with my children, and my friend of 40-some years, Oprah Winfrey, said to me, "You're in bad shape. I'm going to send somebody to your door, a man." I said, "A man? I don't want to ever see another man." She goes, "This is a different kind of man. Just answer the door." And I was like, "I don't want to do it." And so Bob came. He knocked on the door. And he walked in, you know, with that big smile. He goes, "Hi, I'm Bob Roth." I was like, "Oh." And he's like, "Oh, I'm here to teach you to meditate." I was like, "I don't want to meditate with you or anyone else." And he's like, "Well, can I just sit down?" And then he told me that story about Uncle Bobby. And I was like, I don't want to hear that. And he's like, "Well, maybe we could start meditating for like a minute." I'm like, "No." And then I sobbed for like a half an hour. And he said, "So maybe not tonight. I'll come back tomorrow, because this is a 4-day program I was given to you as a gift for 4 days, so I'll come back tomorrow." Came back the next day, same situation. I sobbed. He sat there, smiled, tried to tell me some story. I don't remember what he was saying. He said, "Let's try again tomorrow." Then the 3rd day, same story. The 4th day, he came back. He said, "So this didn't go exactly as I planned, but it's probably not the right time to teach you." I said, "No, I told you that the first day. It's not the right time." And he said, "Well, I'm going to set up a little altar here in your room." So he took out this like white scarf. It was a trip. And then he brought some oranges. And I'm like, "What is he doing?" And I was like, "What are you doing? Get out of my room." And then he got so nervous, he started eating the oranges that were for some god. And he squeezed it all over his white thing. And he's like, I'll leave right away." I go, "Get out, get out." But I was sure that I would never see him again. But I did. And he came back. And he taught me, and he said, "We'll just do 1 minute, then we'll do 2, then we'll do 3. And he got me all the way to 20 minutes. He taught my children, and he sat by me till I found my inner peace. And he stayed committed to me. He helped me tremendously. He quieted me down and introduced me, really, I would say, to my heart and soul, and to the calmness that I knew lived inside of me that I had been unable to access on my own. And I went to like 16 years of Catholic education, okay? So the nuns and the priests couldn't do it. But Bob was able to help me find my own divinity, I would say. And I think that's what the beauty of TM is that it takes you to the very source of your own love, the source of your own divinity, the source of who you are. And who we all are is extraordinary human beings, more than enough valid, worthy, and we all have something to give to this world. And that's why I'm so excited about Meditate America, because it's a really big, life-changing vision. And I love when people have life-changing visions, and I love when they call us up and say, I need you. I want you to be a part of this. Because in being a part of something, being of service ourselves, that's how we ourselves are changed. I think leaders should call us up more than they actually do. I don't think we're called up enough. So I love that you called us all up. I love that you're calling up every city in this country, because imagine how different our country would be if everybody who went onto social media had meditated before they tweeted or before they addressed 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 political candidates. Imagine how different the atmosphere in our public square would be. Imagine if every political leader tweeted. Meditated. Imagine tweeted from a meditated place. But imagine how different our politics would be, our world would be. Imagine if every parent, every business leader, every partner in a relationship had that capacity. How different our conversations would be, how different our places of businesses would be, how different all of us would be. And I think that's really the hope and the vision of this initiative. And so I'm thrilled to be a part of it. I'm really proud of you for initiating this. I believe in it 100%. I think it's a gift that everybody should have for free. And I think that it should be covered by insurance, because we need it. And so I'm really honored, as I said, to be here to get this award. Everybody in here is an enlightened person. And you wouldn't be here if you weren't interested in changing the world in some capacity, because you yourself have been changed by this gift, this process, this incredible experience. So thank you for welcoming me here, my family here, and thank you, Bob, for teaching me and showing me the best part of myself, which is my heart and my soul. So thank you.
I don't think you have to do the Q&A. You
Yeah. The next part of the program was me sitting down with Maria, asking her a couple of questions. But you know what? What you said was just perfect. You don't need any questions from me. We can just hug. But you spoke so beautifully about meditation and also about the country and about service and how it has affected you. I think what you said is so beautiful. You're a very, very fitting recipient of an Enlightened Woman of the Year award. Maria Shriver, ladies and gentlemen. All right. Well, that's thrown it all out. Okay, so when we talk about Meditate America, we are talking about all Americans. In fact, you know what? We're talking about everyone all around the world. Hello, Australia. Because we want no one to be left behind. And that means children and adults who live in under-resourced communities, who deal with poverty and fear and substance use disorder and gun violence on a daily basis. So take a look at what the Foundation is doing to bring TM to under-resourced communities in Washington, D.C., a success story that should be replicated all over the country.
In Ward 8 and throughout the district, the population that is greatest at risk in crisis are very traumatized, and it plays out every day. The violence that we see, you know, the dysfunctional behavior is directly related to people not knowing how to deal with the trauma.
People are suffering everywhere. Not only Ward 8, Ward 7, where we are, toxic stress is rampant. Everybody walking through the door says the same thing. I want to get rid of this stress. I want to get this stress off of me. I need some inner peace.
Like a lot of people, I came to meditation because I was in search of something to help me. It's been a blessing for me. Whatever I've achieved, meditation has been a significant part of it.
Meditation is life-changing. Transcendental meditation is life-changing.
I feel like TM has sort of taught me how to swim in life, and it was just so easy and so simple and so accessible.
I meditate because it makes me happy. My body feels lighter. I just feel, I don't know, free.
Practicing transcendental meditation is a very powerful tool. You have to be operating from a place of mental clarity because that's necessary in order to make change.
It's a powerful thing. It's a powerful thing, and I'm so glad I have it.
So, joining us now, Raisa Martinez, the Regional Director of the David Lynch Foundation in the Greater Washington, D.C. area. Big round of applause. Raisa holds a master's degree from New York University, and 7 years ago she became a certified TM teacher and joined the David Lynch Foundation. She has taught hundreds and hundreds of people living in the under-resourced communities of New York City and Washington, D.C. Please welcome. Well, you already did. So, Raisa, tell us about your impact, about the impact of your work in the communities where you teach.
Transformational. I mean, we've seen the videos of all of the communities we're serving, and specifically I'd like to highlight the work we're doing in Washington, D.C. in Ward 7 and Ward 8. These, oh yeah, cue the mic. Ward 7 and Ward 8 in Washington, D.C. are two neighborhoods with great cultural and historical impact, and also experiencing high levels of violence and poverty. However, in joining the Washington, D.C. team, we have been able to bring transcendental meditation to different communities who are really struggling. So like all of the other communities in the David Lynch Foundation, first responders, veterans. We've also been working with survivors of gun violence. Not too long ago, I taught a single mom of two who recently lost her husband to gun violence. And she came in, like many of the stories that we're hearing tonight, looking for something because she was at her last breath. She didn't know how she was going to raise her two children with dealing with the trauma of having lost her husband to something that was completely out of her control. And she learned TM, much like all of our stories here, and finally she said she felt peace. And that's so important when you think of what we see in Washington, D.C. We're driving down the street after some place was maybe robbed, or we're driving down the street and seeing people who are really struggling. So to be able to connect with different community-based organizations in Washington, D.C. to bring this technique to so many families, so many children, and people who have been struggling to deal with trauma that they never asked to experience has been really beautiful, beautiful experience for myself and everyone in our team. And we're really looking forward to replicating not only what we're doing in DC, but to every city across the country. So not just the hundreds and hundreds that I've taught, but the thousands and millions that we hope to teach across the United States. So thank you all. Thank you.
I know those of you who are here in the at the Appel room, and those of you who are connecting, we are talking a lot about transcendental meditation. We're doing it for a reason. Again, I want to make this point. The problems that we face in society, whether it's the divisiveness and the acrimony in our political sphere, it's the sickness that our children feel and the fear of going to school and the anxiety, these are not going away on their own. And they're not able to be addressed by a pharmaceutical drug. They address symptoms. And so we're taking this time. We're very proud. We want you to see that there is not just hope, there's a foundational tool that can really transform society. And you're seeing how it works in this city or that fire department or that veteran service organization or that hospital. It works. Our whole thing with Meditate America is, why not share it with everybody? So Raisa Martinez is a brilliant teacher of transcendental meditation. She is up in the morning early and late at night teaching and takes good care of herself, but works with great passion. So we're very fortunate to have you with us tonight. So thank you.
Thank you. All right, I feel very, very honored. I was lucky enough to sit next to our next guest at dinner, and I had the best conversation, so I'm very excited for you. This is Dr. Tony Nader. He's a global authority on the science of consciousness and human potential. Let me tell you a little bit about him. Dr. Nader is a medical doctor trained at Harvard University and Massachusetts Institute of Technology, where he earned his PhD in neuroscience, whose training includes internal medicine, psychiatry, and neurology. He is the New York Times best-selling author of the seminal book, Consciousness is All There Is. Got it right here, came out 6 weeks ago. He's also the head of the Global Transcendental Meditation Organization, succeeding Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, and is dedicated to advancing the understanding of consciousness through both scientific and spiritual lenses. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Tony Nader. It's a pretty good resume. I mean, not an actor, but it's pretty good. Thank you so much for being with us here this evening. Thanks for sitting next to me at dinner. That was awesome. I'm thrilled for you guys to hear Tony speak. And is it just me, but Tony's been meditating for how long have you been meditating, Tony?
More than 40 years.
More than 40 years. He's got that glow, the meditator glow. Don't you think he's got that glow? Anyway, my first question, Tony. How is it possible, in your opinion, for one meditation technique to produce such a wide range of effects? I mean, there are separate pills for high blood pressure, for insomnia, for depression, for indigestion, whatever. So how is it possible that one technique can cover so many things?
To start off, we recognize that the body is able to heal itself. You know, when we cut ourselves, we burn ourselves, or we have an accident, you know, break a bone, or you know, have a disease, we recover naturally, oftentimes, and most of the time. When we have a loss, when we have a fear, we get somewhat depressed or sad, we get anxieties, and we recover without necessarily having to go through pills and having to take medicines. So this tells us that there are a plethora of mechanisms in the system, in the body, that are able to heal us. We know we have hormones, we have some things against pain, endorphins, we have all kinds of immune cells and inflammatory cells when they are balanced that actually can heal us. So to start with, we know that the body has the mechanisms within it that under normal circumstances are able to correct different factors or different issues that are happening. The question, of course, is how does TM do it? So there are two aspects. Usually for simplicity's sake, we say it's when you gain deep rest. So when you gain deep rest, obviously, you give a chance to the body to recover, like when you are sleeping. You wake up, you feel refreshed, and the fatigue of the day is gone. But it's not only deep rest. It's a combination of rest and alertness, of wakefulness. Wakefulness within that transcendental meditation gives. See, when we have wakefulness to identify a problem and be able to deal with it, this can be in two directions. Outward, when we are under situations of fear or danger, and that limits the attention towards the problem at hand. So if you are in danger, the physiology activates its resources, in order to face this particular danger. But that situation is alertness with activity, high activity, which is putting a lot of demand on the physiology. During transcendental meditation, you have very deep, profound rest, but at the same time, inner alertness. Now, this inner alertness wakes up all the systems of the body and allow them on the platform of inner rest to detect what is needed and to activate the specific hormones and the specific correcting factors that would then deal with whatever problems we have had. So basically, for simple answer, this would be the way to look at it.
Good. That was a simple answer, everyone. We got that. Okay. The title of your book. I was having a chat with Bob Costas. He said, just go lead in with a nice, easy question. So I'm going to, a nice, easy one for you. Tony, the title of your book is Consciousness is All There Is. So what is consciousness? How's that, Bob? Good? Good, thanks.
Well, consciousness in a simple way is what allows us to be conscious. To be conscious is the ability to be aware of internal phenomena and outside phenomena, and our thoughts, our feelings, etc. So we can take a few aspects of consciousness, which is a very multifaceted reality of our existence. And we can say, for example, consciousness is awareness or has awareness. So we are aware of our feelings, we are aware of our thoughts, we are aware of our environment, and that is part of consciousness. Consciousness also has a quality of subjectivity, which means you have your own personal consciousness. You cannot tell that anybody here is conscious. You know, they might be fooling us all. But that is because it's very personal, very subjective, something which is not available through the senses for the outside to observe on an outside value. So that's why we call it a very subjective experience. Consciousness also has a value of intentionality, which means my hopes, my desires, my will, my freedom, what do I do? All of this is happening in consciousness. Consciousness also has the aspect of the sense of self. I am something. Who am I? I have a name, I have a situation, I have a circumstance. Now, if you want to appreciate really the value of consciousness, you just imagine what it is like if you don't have consciousness. So imagine you are in deep anesthesia. What does it matter if you are the wealthiest man, the most loved person, the richest woman in the universe, or whatever values that we give in our life? If you are in deep anesthesia, they mean nothing to you. So the meaning of life disappears when consciousness disappears. So consciousness is very fundamental. And there are different levels of consciousness. So it's not one thing. You can be in coma, and the body is actually conscious of some level, very minimal. You have vegetative state, you have altered states, you have sleep state, you have dream state. All of these are states and levels of consciousness. Even waking state of consciousness can be drowsy or alert, as we've said. If it's alert, it's able to focus. If it is not alert, it's drowsy, it doesn't see what needs to be attended to. So that's why during transcendental meditation, when you dive deep and you have very high alertness, yet on a restful level, then the body is alert and the immune system is able then to attack or deal with foreign material. It's able to activate hormones that need to be activated in a balanced way because you have this inner alertness on the platform on the basis of rest.
Fantastic. Okay, hang on, I've got a little follow-up. So what do you mean consciousness is all there is? What do you mean by that?
See, scientifically and philosophically, consciousness, even from theoretical and practical level, raises many questions about its origin, about its mechanism, about what it is. So even we look at it from any perspective, you wonder, where does consciousness come from? What is it? So philosophically, in a few words, you can say there are three aspects of constituents of reality, or three ways of looking at reality. One is the physical material, which is our objects, the things, the tables, our body, the planets, whatever. And the other is that subjective value, which is very personal, that we just described as consciousness, which is not material. And so how do these interact? What is the reality of life? So you have the philosophers that say everything is material, physical, and then this physicality gets complex, creates a nervous system, and then consciousness arises from a complex functioning of the matter, of physicality. The problem with this is nobody so far has been able to find how is it possible to pass from the physical material to this very subjective, very personal quality, which is non-physical and non-material. Now, the other logic, it started with Descartes and many before it, of course, but he put it in a very systematic way, says, okay, there are two things. One is the physical material, and one is the non-physical, non-material, like the spirit, you know, the feelings, the values of consciousness. But the problem is how these two can interact with each other. Then this raises many problems. They're not solved. Nobody has been able to solve it. The third possibility, which seems to be completely unexpected, is the possibility that consciousness is primary, which means actually there is a field like an ocean of being, which is non-material. It's not physical. It's nothing in terms of materiality or physicality. Yet it's like a field, like an electromagnetic field or a gravitational field, that actually then appears as the different values of consciousness or of the material existence that we have. So in my book, Consciousness is All There Is, I take this paradigm, this starting point, and the problem has been how can the universe come from this level of non-material reality, and how can it appear as physical? And basically it is that this ocean of being, this ocean of consciousness, has waves, has dynamism within it, and those waves are limited values of consciousness that allows us to see things from a limited perspective, and therefore things appear to us in different limited ways. The problem with consciousness, philosophically and empirically and scientifically, is that there is not a common definition of consciousness in a full, extended way. Because humans tend to think consciousness is their own privilege. It's only humans that are conscious. And we call this an anthropomorphic vision of consciousness, which means it is colored by human vision of reality, thinking that everything should be like we are. But in fact, consciousness is much more than that. Consciousness is on a range. We said, okay, if you think of consciousness as not available, then life has no meaning whatsoever. So that is zero consciousness. But you can have higher and higher consciousness. So the definition of consciousness would then be anything that detects, senses, feels, exchanges anything, information with anything else, is a mechanism or is an expression of consciousness on a range from almost nothing to a higher and higher and higher level of consciousness. And this is supported by many, many aspects. For example, this is philosophically, in terms of its value, we say it's explanatory power. Can this logic explain why we are here? Explain our freedom and determinism? Can it explain why we suffer? Can it explain the love and happiness and all of that? Which, by the way, all of these are only colors of consciousness. When you say I'm in love, you are saying my consciousness is colored by a feeling that I call love. When you say I'm happy, it means your consciousness is colored by something that you define as happiness. And how can this be? Well, imagine if you don't have consciousness. Would you have love? Would you have happiness? Would you have even pain? You would have nothing. When you're under anesthesia, they can cut you, they can open you, you know, you can win the lottery while you're anesthesia. It means absolutely nothing to you. So consciousness is primary and fundamental. And when we look at it from a scientific perspective, also in terms of theory of knowledge and understanding of physics even, we find that the universe is layered from gross values, molecules, atoms, and then particles. But then we reach fields. And these fields are more and more unified. So there is a more unification on the basis of diversity. And this logic can be used to show how consciousness is actually primary. So it has its convergence of factors that allow us to say that consciousness is primary, and this empirical value, even the transcendental meditation technique that shows its effectiveness in enlivening from consciousness the physiology so it heals itself. All the beautiful things we listen to today and the values are actually the result of consciousness on a restful state. So deep rest with high alertness. This is what transcendental meditation is. It's not just deep rest. For simplicity, we say it's deep rest. But deep rest you get during sleep. Here you have deeper rest, but high alertness. So the body is awake and can heal itself. And we have effects on the social level, which means when a group of people practice this program together, we have seen changes in crime and accidents of the road, infant mortality, etc., which shows that consciousness is really a field. And all of these together give us the justification to say that consciousness is not only primary, but consciousness is all there is.
Yeah, you sold me. I'm in. Brilliant. I just want to make one observation. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. But I just want to say your wisdom is extraordinary. Your dedication to getting it out to the world is amazing. And just, I have to say, I went down after the break. We had a little break before we came back up there, and a meal was put down in front of me. And I said to Tony, "Oh, have you guys already eaten?" Because no one else had a meal. And he said, "No, I told the server I'm not sure he's going to have enough time to eat. So if you could bring his meal out first." And so you're a kind man as well. So
Thank you.
yes, thank you so much, Dr. Tony Nader, and good luck with the book.
Thank you. Thank you. Wonderful.
Well, now we come to the point of our evening when we can just sit back and, let's say, have our consciousness expanded at least for a few minutes. And no one better to do it than Joshua J., who is a world champion in close-up magic and a Guinness record holder for card tricks. Joshua was awarded Magician of the Year in 2020 by the Society of American Magicians Parent Assembly for his contribution to the art of magic. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Joshua J.
Hello. Good evening. It's such a pleasure to be here. A little about myself before I begin. I saw my first magician when I was 7 years old. A magician came to my school. He had a handkerchief like this one. He went like this. He went like this. And he produced, I will never forget this, 7 years old, he produced his shoe off of his foot. And I remember thinking, because I was like 7 years old at this time, I remember thinking, wow, that trick is stupid. Because that's not magic, that's misdirection, right? That's getting you to look in one place away from another. For the next 20 minutes, of course, I want to show you things that are impossible, but more than that, I want to show you things that are surprising. So let's begin the way every magic show should begin, with a toast. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the magic show. Yes. But that's not the magic surprise. The surprise is that really is my shoe. Are you ready to have your consciousness expanded? Before we begin, I have to give this to somebody in the audience. This, my friends, is a prediction. I made this prediction just before I came on while you were finishing the interview. What's inside this box, I hope, is the most amazing moment in the next 20 minutes. So I have to give this to somebody who has a trustworthy face, won't open it in advance. Definitely not you. Okay, fine. Who else do we have that we can... What's your name? Claire. Claire, I'm going to ask you to hold on to this prediction box. Do not look inside. Don't let your neighbors look inside. A little encouragement for Claire. Thank you so much for holding on to that. So I came to TM when a colleague who's here tonight told me about the David Lynch Foundation, founded in 2005, used in 350 schools across the country. But the intersection point between magic, the kind of magic I do, and TM began a long time ago, and we owe a lot to this gentleman. This is a vintage shirt. I was gifted this shirt. Does anybody know the name Doug Henning? A couple of you know? Yes. So Bob tells me amazing stories about Doug Henning. He was the most popular magician in the world from the late 70s to the early 80s. He's no longer with us. He passed in 2000. This is a real shirt. This is not a reprint of Doug Henning from his 1978 tour. Can we get a zoom on this? Do you see what he's doing with his hands? This is important. You see that with his hands? He's doing the magician's pose. Doug was better at this than anybody. I don't know why this is, but when magicians go like this, audiences go crazy. So here was what I was thinking. When I was asked to do this gala, I thought to myself, what can I do to people who are into TM? What can I share with them? And I thought, let's make a t-shirt. Let's make our own t-shirt, just like the Doug Henning one, but we'll use all our collective data. So I need to borrow a dollar bill. First person to give me $1, I will use your dollar. I like how this side of the audience, nobody even moves. What are you people, too good for money? You don't carry cash? You have one, wow. And you're approaching the stage. This is a little aggressive. Thank you very much. What's your name? Janet. Janet, thank you for giving me this dollar. It is like every other dollar in this room, so I'm going to mark this dollar by tearing a little corner off of it so you can keep track of it. Would you hold on to that piece for us? And now, it's Janet. Janet, I would like you to indicate anybody else close to the stage, somebody other than yourself, to hold on to your dollar for us. Point to somebody. Hi, would you come forward? Pinch that between your thumb and first finger. Don't put it away. We're going to need it. We're going to need that corner as well. And now I would like everybody to take out their phones. Take out your phones. We are going to deal in the magic of numbers. Everybody take out your phone. Go to the calculator. You have to be able to turn your calculator on its side like this. And now I need everybody's help. Everybody in this audience, think of your childhood address where you grew up. Like for me back in Ohio, it was 334 Santa Clara Street. Does somebody remember their childhood address? Who's got it? I see your hand. I know you, so I shouldn't use you. What's your childhood address, sir? 20? Just the number 20? Everybody put in 20. And now hit times. Now I need somebody with a speeding ticket. Where are my Jersey people at? Anybody have a speeding ticket in the last 10 years? Oh, you're all just perfect TM advocates. You never speed. Oh, hi. How fast were you going, sir? 55 in a what? That sounds like the speed limit. In a 35. That's the rub. Okay, everybody put in 55 and hit times again. And do you get 1100? That's what I get. The reason I do this is because later tonight, when you're reconstructing all of this, I don't want you to say, yeah, but he used his phone when he multiplied and added it up. Now you're all multiplying with me. What I need next is somebody who's had some drinks in the last 7 days. Who's had some drinks they're willing to come clean about? All right. How many? 14. Wow. You're lying, sir, but I will go with 14. That's fine. Everybody put in 14 and you hit times and then 14 and then hit equals. That should be 15,400. Is that what you guys get? Good. Now I want everybody to hit plus. Now up to this point, maybe you think that I told him to say 14, that I told gentlemen to say 20, that I predicted all these numbers by telling people what to say. That's not true. But just to be sure, let's randomize it. Hold out your finger like this, sir. I'll tip my phone down, touch 3 random places on my phone pad, anywhere you like. Move your hand around. Those are the first 3 numbers. And would you hit 3 different numbers? Just tap, tap, tap. Yep, that, and one more tap. Like that, that's good. There's the next, and a couple more. Yeah? You get enough? All right, everybody's going to hit plus for these numbers. 319, 154, 986, 011. I'll say it again. 319, 154, 986, 011. And hit equals. And I get this number, 319, 155, 001, 411. Is that what you guys get to? It's what you got, that's what you got, that's what you got. Did anybody get something different? One in the back, one over here, and one there. You guys suck at math, I'm sorry. I don't know how else to say it. This is the number we'll go with. Do you have it on your phone? Good. Would you keep that on your phone? Don't delete it. Everybody else hit clear. That's all we needed was to create this number. So now the question becomes, how do we turn this number into a t-shirt? And we'll do that using duct tape. Doug Henning would have approved. What I'd like you to do is, sir, read that number off one digit at a time for me, please. Yes? 3, 1, oh boy. Is that a 9 or a P? I'm writing up, is that the right way? Yeah, good, okay. One, 5, 5, 0, 0, 1, 4, 1. Another one? Guys, this is our t-shirt. Thought you'd be more impressed, I don't know. Think about it this way. This t-shirt is unique in the entire world. There's no t-shirt like the one we've created. And think of it this way. If you were born in a different house, different number. If you had been going a different speed, different number. Sir, if you'd have just laid off the booze this week, smaller number. But this is the number we could create it. It's as unique, you could say, as a dollar bill. Would you unfold that dollar bill from her wallet? Every dollar bill has a serial number on it. It's what makes it unique. Yes! It's what makes it unique in the entire world. In a loud voice so they can hear you all the way on the 4th tier, would you read that number out loud? 319 155 001. That's your moment. Can I see that? Pass that forward, pass that forward. Let's make sure, can I see that, Jenna? Make sure that is a perfect fit from the piece we tore off. I think that's a trick worth at least $1 tip. Thank you. Now, actually, what I showed you isn't impossible. I told you I wanted to show you something impossible. That's not impossible. That's merely improbable. It's unlikely that a dollar bill from your wallet would match the numbers we created together and multiply. The part that's impossible is that all of these numbers, upside down, make that word I told you about when we started impossible. That's I-M-P-O-S-S-I-B-L-E. That's as impossible as I can make it. Thank you guys very much. I appreciate it. Can I see that piece? Oh, you folded it, okay. I'm gonna take this piece from you. You reach into my pocket, take your dollar bill for me, go ahead. Wait a second, run your fingers on that. That's not a dollar bill anymore, is that? Yeah. Look at this, reach into my pocket for me. Reach in, that's not a pocket, is it? In fact, that's not tape. Feel that tape, that's not tape anymore. Because this is now printed on the shirt. Look, your piece is still a perfect fit, but now it's just a printed t-shirt. And the only way to end this trick is the way Doug Henning would have ended it on his t-shirt, which is like this. You hold on to that. All right, you're still holding on to the prediction, my friend, right? We haven't looked inside? You haven't looked inside? Good. We created this number. We did that together. I want to make this number a little smaller for one last thing. So I'm going to hit divided by, and you said your name was Claire, yes? Claire, I want you to imagine a food item, like in a grocery store or a bodega. You're already thinking of one? How much would you like that item to cost? $3 even. That's no fun. Make it 329 or 267. I don't want to talk you out of it, but make it something spicy. 375. Did I talk you into that, or do you want to change it again? Like 375? I'm going to come off the stage. You hit 375. Don't put the point, just 375. Keep them whole numbers. 375. And let's hit equals. This is our number. This is the number. I'm going to ask you to read this number off. Don't worry about anything after the decimal points. What was the food item you thought of? M&Ms for 375 in New York. Clearly you don't live here. They're way more than that. Okay, that's good. That's a bargain on M&Ms. Would you read that number out loud? This is our number for today. 3500 591 224. This is the number that we've ended on this evening. This is all of your data coming together and also what you thought of. But I told you that I made a prediction before we began. Claire, would you stand up? Stand up, come to the front of the stage with that box. Yes, you need the box. If inside that prediction is a written prediction of that number, I think that would be pretty amazing. Open the box, hold out what you find, and hold it up for everybody to see. Take it out, hold it up. Ladies and gentlemen, that's my shoe. That's twice. Not exactly where you thought it was going. But you see, Claire, the prediction isn't the shoe. The shoe is misdirection. I told you I wanted to give you a surprise. You could have thought of anything. Bubblegum, potato chips, Pepsi, but you thought of M&Ms. Reach inside the shoe. That's where this prediction will be. Hold that up. Ladies and gentlemen, that's M&Ms, the exact item that she thought of. But not just that. She could have thought of anything, but even every package of M&Ms is unique. And the reason we know every package of M&Ms is unique is because of the barcode that is printed on every package. Claire, in a loud voice, please read out that barcode for us. 350059 1224. That's it. Thank you very much, Claire. I appreciate it. You can have a seat. Thank you. Souvenir, but for after the show. But here's the thing. This only works today. It only works because you came out for Meditate America. And I don't mean that in some kind of cheesy management speak talk. I mean it literally. I told you when I walked out how exciting it was that TM is taught in 350 schools. That the David Lynch Foundation was founded in 2005. And today's date, the day of this gala, is September 12th, 2024. That's as impossible as I can make it. Thank you. Magic is about observation. You saw that I walked out on stage, I talked about numbers, we put all these numbers together, I borrowed a dollar bill, we wrote a number on my shirt, it became part of the shirt, you checked, you made sure it was part of the shirt, you still have the receipt. But what many people have failed to notice is that in some point in this show, that dollar bill disappeared right off this shirt. Now you need your dollar bill back. You noticed it was gone. Here's a gold star for you. That's for you. 2 empty hands. You'll recognize your bill when you see it again. Watch. Oh, that's weird. Hold your hand out. It's not your bill. Those are M&Ms. You can eat them. It's ecstasy. The thing is, if where your bill was supposed to be was M&Ms, what's where the M&Ms are? Claire, you could have thought of anything in the world. You thought of M&Ms. Bring those M&Ms forward just to the foot of the stage. I don't want to come near. Tear that M&Ms package right in half over the stage. Pour out what you find. Tear all the way through. Yep, keep tearing. Pour out those M&Ms right there. That's what we're looking for. Pick that up. Unfold it if that's missing a corner. Ladies and gentlemen, not just any corner. Would you hold that piece up? Make sure that is a perfect fit. Everything is back where it started. That's for you. Thank you very, very, very much. All right, my time is winding down. I have just one last thing to share with you before I go. And what makes this trick interesting, and people ask me, what is your favorite trick and what is the most difficult trick you do? And the answer to both questions is the last thing I'm going to perform for you. What makes this so terribly difficult is not just the sleight of hand, though it is the most difficult sleight of hand I do, it's also the memory involved. So starting right here, I'm gonna get a bunch of cards picked. I need you all to remember your cards or this last part doesn't work. Write them down if you have to. Say stop. Do you wanna go more or are you happy there? Take that card and you take one. And you take one, and you take one. Please, say stop. More or less, are you happy? More. Here's a clue. Less, it doesn't matter in the end. It's just a little clue. Take that card, take that card, take that card, and you get the last card. What's your name? Tommy? How's your memory, Tommy? Like the low-key confidence. Round of applause for Tommy. Make your way onto the stage, Tommy. Come around this way. This will be great. Tommy, normally they hide cards from the magician, but in this trick, they're actually going to show us these cards. There's 8 of the cards. Come this way. And we are going to flash memorize these cards on the count of 3. You need to remember value and suit. You need to remember the face to the person who picked it and the order of the cards. It's a lot to remember, so I use a memory palace, and then I use a link system to remember the face with the names. What system will you be using?
That sounds like a great system.
That sounds like you're like the most agreeable person on earth. Okay, you're staying in the show. Here we go. You're gonna hold them up for 3 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Hold them up. And down? Did you get them all?
I think so.
All right, well then what was the first card?
3.
That's correct. Very good. Do you remember the suit though?
Hearts?
No. Show them. Spades. Yeah, 3 of spades. Do you remember the next card?
5.
Very good. Do you remember the suit? You weren't going for suits.
I was going for numbers.
Okay. Here's the good news. You don't have to remember anything, but I have to remember these cards or this last bit fails. Let me make sure I got it. 3. Last card was 4 of hearts. Show me. So I have a visual? Yes, I won't forget again. Okay, Tommy, you take these cards. Your job is very simple. You're going to go down these stairs. You're going to take everybody's card, put it in a different place in the deck, and then join me back on stage.
Perfect. Yeah.
While he does that, I will explain to you, I am very proud to have set the Guinness World Record for card tricks. This is a real record. It was set in 1993 in Los Angeles. 6 chosen cards, freely chosen, as I gave them all the option to change their mind, shuffled into a real pack of cards. It's a real deck, you are all examining it, and shuffled into that deck by a Guinness judge, today played by Tommy. As you come onto the stage, Tommy, give those cards a thorough, oh, you still have them all together?
Oh, sorry, am I supposed to shuffle?
Yeah, you're supposed to put them in different parts. Tommy, you had one job. You know how easy it would be if they were all together? Okay, they all spread out, give them some kind of a shuffle.
Okay.
If you want to use the table, you can, is that easier? That was perfect, Tommy. Thank you so much. Round of applause for Tommy. So, it didn't come easy. I trained with a memory expert in New York, Harry Lorraine. I trained with 6 of the world's greatest sleight of hand artists. I failed 4 times on stage until January of last year when I set the new Guinness World Record for card tricks, and that's how we're going to end this show. Thank you. I cannot promise you I will match my record and find them all. I can only promise you I will give it my best shot. This is 27 years of magic crammed into 60 seconds. The only thing I need from each of you, you're the only ones in this crowd who know the cards. So when I find your card, like we'll start with you, if I find the 3 of spades, you showed it to me, you need to say yes. That's the only way I know to move on. If I don't hear yes, I'll keep going and think I haven't found the right card. So let's practice. If I find your card, you say right. Good. I mean, you could say it with some enthusiasm. It's the end of the show, but that's up to you. Okay. You guys have been absolutely fantastic. It's such an honor to be on this show. You can keep track of the time here. Remember, you're all saying yes if and when I find your card. Here we go. That's 3 of spades. Yeah, okay. That's 17 from the bottom, 5 of clubs. What was your card, Claire? Claire, what was the card? You didn't pick a card? Oh, good. I didn't find one for you. That's a blank card. That's good. We'll try and find the next one with one hand behind my back. With one hand behind my back, I'll cut them with just one hand. That's the 9 of diamonds. That was yours, but I skipped one. I said I'd find it with one hand. I didn't say which hand. That's from midair, your 5 of spades, 9 of diamonds. I'll try and find the next one. Should be 17th from the top. That's the ace of clubs. I'll try and find the next one. It should be right over this way. That's the 2 of diamonds. That's your card. Who is the next one? That was your card. What was your card? The 2 of spades, is that right? 2 of spades, look, inside the clock. Magic is about misdirection. Inside this clock is your 2 of spades. It's just a little smaller. When you take it out, it's a tiny card. There's one card left, 5 seconds. The last one was the 4 of hearts, we said, yes? From midair, your card. That's the last card. That's the 4 of hearts. That's the show. Thank you very much. But wait 1 second. I told you that this was all one big coincidence and about surprise. Look at the numbers you helped me create. The first number was a 3, and you picked a 3. The next number was a 5. You picked a 5. You didn't pick a card, Claire. That's why that's a 0. Thank you for not picking a card. That's a 5. That's a 9. That's a 1. That's a 2. That's for 9, 12. That's a 2. That's a 4. That really is the end of the show. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, guys.
Wow, wow. See what meditation does? Incredible. You can all do that.
I want to thank Hugh Jackman, Dr. Nader, David Lynch, Maria Shriver, Joshua J. Thank you, incredible. All of our presenters, and all of you who joined us in person and via live stream all over the world. And very importantly, a huge thank you to all the staff and the TM teachers with the David Lynch Foundation. And in particular, we're now connected to 150 cities, the TM teachers who are in all those cities teaching this, call it a meditation-based intervention, healthcare intervention. So grateful. Mark Benioff said, who is the CEO of Salesforce, he said wisely, philanthropy to test and prove, government to scale and grow. We are this far away after 50 years of scientific research on this meditation, published in top journals all over the world, this far away from that tipping point of allowing that single mom who has anxiety, and she sees her family physician, and the family physician says, I can give you a prescription for this antihypertensive, anti-anxiety medication, and I can give you a prescription for transcendental meditation. As Maria Shriver said, imagine the world. We have a lot of things we have to grow, a lot of things we have to change, but if within ourselves, that line, change begins within, in a scientific way. So we need your help everywhere. I also want to say, we've been talking a lot about transcendental meditation. Some of you have still, very impressive, not sure what it is exactly we're talking about. So this Sunday, September 15th at 1 p.m. Eastern, and again, 1 p.m. Pacific, the brilliant Dr. Tony Nader and myself will be giving an introductory talk on TM. And it's the same website. It's live, I hope, live.meditateamerica.org. So I encourage you to watch that, live.meditateamerica.org. You've heard of angel investors. Please be our angel philanthropists. Thank you very, very much.
All right, I was ready to go. I've got another job to do. So we're going to close with a message actually from David Lynch. David is considered one of the greatest, most respected directors of our time. He received an Academy Award for Lifetime Achievement in 2019. He's been the recipient of 3 Academy Award nominations for Best Director and a nomination for Best Screenplay. He has twice won France's César Award for Best Foreign Film, as well as the Palme d'Or at the Cannes Film Festival, and a Golden Lion Award for Lifetime Achievement at the Venice Film Festival. The Guardian newspaper in the UK named David as the #1 most important filmmaker of this modern era. Ladies and gentlemen, a creative genius, and why doesn't he answer my letters for an audition? Anyway, a philanthropist, ladies and gentlemen, David Lynch.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. I hope you all are enjoying a wonderful night. I'd like to talk a little bit about nothing. And this nothing is the transcendent. It's the unified field. It's no hyphen thing. It's pure consciousness. Tonight you've probably heard a lot about consciousness is all there is. And I've heard many talks Maharishi would sometimes refer to this transcendent as nothing, but it has the potential for everything. Now picture the year 1968, and the Beatles have gone to Rishikesh, India, to study with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi in his ashram there. And during the day, they're either meditating or listening to talks by Maharishi. And Maharishi starts talking about this field within as nothing, unmanifest, no hyphen thing. And you can see John Lennon picking up on this and saying to Maharishi, Maharishi, are you trying to tell me that nothing is going to change my world? And they would laugh. During that time in Maharishi's ashram, John Lennon wrote a great song. It's called Across the Universe. And in that song, that line, nothing's going to change my world, is repeated many times. And people probably thought that was a downer. It was an upbeat song in some ways, they thought, about meditation and the beauty of it. But it kept having this thing, nothing's going to change my world, and they wonder what this is. But John Lennon knew what it was. It's not no, nothing's going to change my world. It's yes, yes, nothing is going to change my world. Big time. So here is this song, and tonight I'm going to play a cover version of Across the Universe by a band from the country of Georgia called the Killer Band, and they are a great band, and this is a great cover. And when the song is over, if you would sit quietly, maybe with your eyes closed, I'm going to say a verse, and that will end the evening.
Words are flowing out like endless rain into a paper cup. They slither while they pass, they slip away across the universe. Pools of sorrow, waves of joy are drifting through my opened mind, possessing and caressing me. Jabiru nothing's gonna change my world. 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 Images of broken light which dance before me like a million eyes that call me on and on across the universe. Touch me under like a restless wind inside a letterbox. They tremble blindly as they make the way across the universe. Nothing's gonna change my world. 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 Sounds of laughter, shades of life are ringing through my open ears, inciting and inviting me. Limitless and dying love which shines around me like a million songs that call me on and on across the universe. Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world. Nothing's gonna change my world.
May everyone be happy. May everyone be free of disease. May auspiciousness be seen everywhere. May suffering belong to no one. Peace. Jai Gurudev.